Hello and thanks for staying with LN 24/7. This is News Now as we take you through happenings in Nigeria at this time. My name is Tahila Ogbole. The National Judicial Council, NJC, has allegedly commenced a discreet but far-reaching investigation into some highly placed judges in the country, including heads of courts, insiders at the council have said. The NJC is the constitutional body responsible for appointing, promoting and disciplining judicial officers in Nigeria. The 24-member council, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kudirat Kekereekun, derives its authority from paragraph 20 of the Part 1 of the third schedule to the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended. When contacted, Toby Soniyi, Senior Special Assistant to the CJN on Media, directed all inquiries to the NJC, saying he had not been briefed on the issue. The NJC's Deputy Director, Kemi Babalola Egbetokun, also told newsmen she was unaware of any such probe. The All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party have traded words over the outcome of the 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, offering sharply different interpretations of the results. This agreement follows the declaration by the Independent National Electoral Commission, which announced the APC as winners in 5 of the 6 chairmanship seats contested, while the PDP secured 1. While speaking in an interview on a local television program, APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka described the outcome as a natural reflection of voters' choices. In a quote, "The fact is that an election was called and Nigerians who were eligible to vote went out to cast their ballots, and the authorities empowered to regulate, conduct and monitor the election did so and declared the results in favor of the APC. The votes were collated and counted and every requirement was met. The APC won the majority of the council in the FCT," he said. Well, in the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reaffirmed its commitment to a credible June 20 governorship election, prioritizing accessibility for persons living with disabilities. Resident Electoral Commission, Bumi Omosedime, represented by Executive Secretary Tobe Aina, made the pledge during an engagement with disability groups in Ado-Ekiti. INEC promised accessible voting centers and renewed calls for continuous voter registration, urging disability leaders to mobilize eligible members. Representatives commended the dialogue, hailing it as a trust-building step. INEC stresses stakeholder collaboration for a free, fair and inclusive poll. Amid rising bandit attacks across several communities in Kwara State, particularly in Kwara North and Kwara South senatorial districts with increasing cases of kidnapping, the Sarakin Fulani of Kwara State, Adam Abdullahi, has called on both the federal government and the Kwara State government to consider recruiting Fulani indigents into the forest guard system to strengthen efforts against terrorism. Abdullahi made the call during an interactive session with journalists at his palace in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. This followed an emergency meeting with Fulani leaders from the southwestern states. He stressed that security matters must be prioritized and must not be politicized or driven by ethnic discrimination, urging governments at all levels to leverage the knowledge of Fulani indigents who, by virtue of their age-long cattle-rearing occupation, are deeply familiar with forest terrains. According to the Sarakin Fulani, 90% of Fulani people are law-abiding citizens despite widespread misconceptions. While acknowledging the importance of education, he emphasized that combating terrorism requires extraordinary dedication, especially from the recently recruited 1,000 forest guards by the Kwara State government. He therefore advocated the inclusion of experienced local hunters and qualified Fulani indigents to complement ongoing security efforts. As part of measures to end water scarcity in Nakagel, West local government area of Benue State, the state government has commissioned a 500,000 litre per day water treatment plant and handed over 600 newly constructed shelters to internally displaced persons. Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented at the event by his deputy Sam Ode, said the projects are part of deliberate efforts to address the humanitarian challenges confronting displaced persons in host communities across the state. He noted that the new water facility would significantly reduce water scarcity in the area and improve sanitation and public health outcomes, particularly in IDP camps where access to potable water had remained a pressing concern. The plant, with a daily production of capacity of 500,000 litres, was funded by the European Union through its humanitarian arm, European Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operations, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration and the state government. In a bold move to reshape the future of Benue State, Governor Hyacinth Alia has declared free education for every child from Basic 1 to 9. The governor, who made this while inaugurating Benue Basic Education Summit, said his administration will make basic education completely free, ensuring no child of school age is left behind. It's great to have you back. Now moving to Uganda. The government of Uganda is planning to connect its new standard gauge railway to a line under construction in Tanzania, in a move aimed at creating an alternative export route for key minerals. The proposed link would provide access to the port of Dar es Salaam, reducing reliance on Kenya's Mombasa port. According to government documents, the railway will run from Uganda's Tanzania border through the southern and southwestern regions, ending at the Mbodwe near the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. The project is expected to support the transport of minerals such as gold, copper, and iron ore, while cutting travel time and logistic costs. Uganda says the African Development Bank is being considered to support early project preparations, with possible financing subject to feasibility outcomes. Officials also noted that the Democratic Republic of Congo could join the network at a later stage to expand regional trade connectivity. A Tunisian court has sentenced lawmaker Ahmed Seidani to 8 months in prison over social media posts mocking President Kais Saied. Critics say the ruling signals a tightening crackdown on dissent and freedom of expression. Seidani, once a supporter of Saied's policies, has become a vocal critic, accusing the president of consolidating decision-making power while leaving others responsible for the country's challenges. He was arrested after calling Saied the supreme commander of sewage and rainwater drainage in a Facebook post. Human rights groups warn that the president's actions are cementing one-man rule in Tunisia, with many opposition figures and journalists imprisoned. Saied, however, defends the measures as necessary to ensure the law and restore order in the country. Well, now we'll move to Rwanda, where the Kanyuza district in Rwanda is implementing an ambiguous irrigation initiative to tackle persistent drought and climate change impacts. Well, the Kayonza Integrated Irrigation Water Management Project includes the construction of the Chizanda Dam, which will store 1 million cubic meters of water to irrigate 200 hectares of farmland. The project, currently 30% complete, will benefit 560 farmers growing avocado and mangoes, with solar-powered system pumping water uphill and distributing it through gravity-fed irrigation taps. Plans are also underway to expand irrigation to an additional 4,000 hectares in the Ndego sector, drawing water from nearby lakes. Well, officials say the bolder $205 million initiative running through 2031 will combine infrastructure development, fruit tree planting, soil conservation, and climate-resilient crops to ensure long-term food security. Local farmers welcome the project, noting that reliable irrigation will stabilize harvests and improve livelihoods. Now, in some business stories, Federal Ministry of Livestock Development has announced a strategic partnership with the Nigerian Armed Forces aimed at expanding large-scale livestock production to strengthen food security and support rural economic growth nationwide. The initiative is expected to integrate military agricultural assets into broader national food systems. Speaking during a meeting in Abuja, the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Murka Meha, revealed that the joint technical teams will begin nationwide assessment of military farms formation to evaluate current livestock operations and identify areas requiring government intervention. The minister explained that the collaboration will focus on improving production standards, enhancing self-sufficiency within military institutions, and contributing surplus output to national food supply chains. He noted that the efforts align with the federal government's priorities for food sovereignty, employment creation, and community stabilization, and highlighted the ministry's integrated grazing reserve model, which is being piloted in Wase. The Group Managing Director of Defense Holding Company Limited, Air Vice Marshal Anthony Indase, in his earlier remarks, said that the organization oversees the armed forces' commercial and agricultural ventures and is expanding livestock farming as part of non-kinetic strategies to improve food production, reduce insecurity, and promote community reintegration. The Defense Holding Company also requested technical collaboration for the development of about 1,000 hectares of livestock and agricultural facilities in Plateau State. Well, moving on, the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, has directed contractors holding advance payment guarantees for years without executing projects to immediately return to site or risk forfeiting further payment. He said it was unacceptable for contractors to retain government funds without deploying them to the intended projects while still requesting payment certificates. Umahi stressed that such practices undermine project delivery and delay critical infrastructure development across the country. He warned that contractors must utilize the funds strictly for the specified works, noting that keeping public funds idle in banks will no longer be tolerated. The minister emphasized that the directive is part of efforts by the federal government to strengthen accountability and ensure value for money in public projects. Well, in more business stories, the Value Chain Development Program's Adaptation for Smallholder Agricultural Program, VCDP's ASP grant, funded by the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, says it is making significant strides in strengthening climate resilience and boosting food security in Niger State. The intervention currently being implemented in Niger and Kogi State is designed to enhance sustainable agricultural production systems, promote value addition and waste management, and improve food and nutrition security among stakeholder farmers. Well, more in this report. Now, software companies are delaying borrowing as rising concerns over artificial intelligence disrupt the sector and increase scrutiny from lenders. Leveraged loan spread from tech firms are pricing in higher default risk, prompting investors and banks to hold off on new deals. Experts say AI disruption is expected to impact the industry over the next 2 years, with low-rated software companies most vulnerable. Even well-established firms are postponing fundraising until trading levels recover, while planned deals in the US and Europe have been put on hold or delayed. Banks are demanding higher yields and stricter covenants on new loans to protect investors, reflecting heightened caution in the debt market. Analysts warn that without stabilization, lower-rated software borrowers could face increased refinancing or default risk in 2026. Welcome to sports. Nigeria's fencing sensation Nkosi Brown has achieved a historic milestone, becoming the first Nigerian ranked among the top 10 junior fencers in the world. The latest rankings, released by the International Fencing Federation, placed the 18-year-old 10th in the men's sabre junior category. With 68.75 points, Brown is now the second highest ranked African, behind Egypt's Ahmed Hesham, who sits 7th with 76 points. Despite a quarter-final exit at the 2026 African Junior Fencing Championship in Dakar, Brown's rise has been driven by his 6th-place finish at the 2026 FI World Cup in Dakar. In 2024, he won at Nigeria's first-ever global men's sabre medal, a silver at the World Tornado Satellite Cup in Iceland, and added bronze at the 2025 African Junior Championships in Luanda.